You probably complained about being cold today. Maybe you put on a sweater. Maybe you turned the thermostat up 2 degrees and grumbled about your heating bill. A medieval peasant would have looked at you the way you look at someone who says their phone is slow when it takes 2 seconds to load. For a person living in medieval Europe, winter was not a season. It was the spine of the entire year. Everything you did from March to October was, in some way, preparation for the 4 months when the world would try to kill you. You did not enjoy winter. You did not look forward to a fresh snowfall. You braced for winter, you ate through winter, and you counted bodies after winter. The gap between what they had and what you have is so wide we have lost the ability to imagine it. So let's actually walk through it. Let's start with the cold itself. Beginning around the year 1300, Europe entered what climatologists call the Little Ice Age. Certain winters became genuinely terrifying. In the winters of 1303, 1306, and 1307, much of the Baltic Sea froze solid. In the winter of 1216, the Po River in northern Italy froze so completely that a nobleman organized a jousting tournament on top of it. In the winter of 1363, long stretches of the Rhine River were frozen for months. In February of 1352, Florence was buried under continuous snow for the entire month. A chronicler from the time wrote that townspeople were trapped for several days in their homes. In that same Italian winter, wine froze solid inside its casks. People had to take an axe to a barrel to chip out a drink. That was your world, and your house was not going to save you. If you were a typical peasant, your home was wattle and daub, sticks woven into a frame and smeared with a mixture of mud, straw, and animal dung. The walls were thin, the floor was packed dirt. The roof was thatch that sagged under snow. Your window, if you had one, was a stretched piece of animal hide. The wind came through every crack. And on the coldest nights, you brought your livestock inside with you because a cow generates body heat, and your survival mattered more than the smell. In the middle of the room was your only heat source, an open fire on a stone hearth, no chimney. The smoke filled the room and slowly drifted out through a hole in the roof. You spent winter inhaling it. The one benefit was that the smoke cured your sausages, which hung in the rafters, because there was nowhere else to put them. That fire could not go out. Restarting it in freezing darkness with flint and steel could take hours, so peasant families learned to bank the fire. Before sleep, they buried the glowing coals under a mound of ash, which kept the embers alive until dawn. A small skill, taught from parent to child, that kept people alive. You wore everything you owned: a linen shirt, a wool tunic, another tunic, a cloak, a hood, double gloves, leather underwool, wool stockings tied to a belt so they would not slip down inside leather boots, greased with animal fat. Archaeologists examining a 14th century woman's dress at Edinburgh Castle counted 12 separate layers of fabric in the single garment. There were also rules about what you could wear. The English sumptuary laws of 1363 forbade certain fabrics and furs to anyone below a certain rank, regardless of whether you could afford them. You could freeze, but you could not warm yourself in cloth above your station. And the clothes had to be made. By women, mostly, working hand spindles for thousands of hours per garment. They spun while walking to the field, while watching children, while sitting at the fire. The medieval woman who spun the thread for your single shirt did so over the course of weeks. When the sun went down, you slept. Not alone. The medieval bed was a piece of survival equipment. 6, 8, sometimes 10 people in a single bed. Parents, children, servants, and on the coldest nights, guests. At Conway Castle in Wales, archaeologists found the remains of a bed nearly 4 meters wide. Children always slept in the middle, where it was warmest and safest from drafts. The young, healthy adults were at the edges, acting as human shields against the cold air. 8 bodies in a bed produce roughly 1 kilowatt of heat, about the same as a small modern space heater. That was your central heating. Before you climbed in, someone might have slid a heated river stone under your blankets. Stones warmed in the hearth for hours, wrapped in wool, kept heat for 6 to 8 hours. At Warwick Castle in England, archaeologists found special recesses built into the kitchen fireplaces specifically for heating these stones. And then there was the food. There was a medieval proverb, "Winter eateth what summer groweth." From March to October, you were preparing for the months when nothing grew. By November, you had slaughtered most of your animals. Everything else was salted, smoked, or dried so heavily that you had to boil it for hours before it was edible. Cod was dried into stockfish, so hard you beat it with a mallet before cooking it. Your fruit was hard apples and pears that lasted into February. Your vegetables were cabbages, leeks, and radishes. During Lent, the 40 days before Easter, you went without meat, eggs, or dairy. So you made milk out of almonds, and it was expensive. In London in the 1340s, a tilemaker's daily wage dropped from 5.5 pence in summer to 4.5 in winter because the days were shorter and you got paid for fewer hours of work. Meanwhile, food prices rose. By the deepest months, an ordinary city dweller could be spending over 70% of their income just on food. Wages down, prices up, daylight short, cold relentless. We forget what winter used to mean. We turn a dial in November and the room becomes summer. We grab a coat from a closet that has 7 of them. We have erased the season from our lives so completely that we now go outside to enjoy the cold. We take walks just to look at snow. The medieval peasant did not look at snow. They counted it. For your ancestors, winter was the central problem of the year. The thing the rest of life was organized around. The reason you spun thread until your fingers ached. The reason you slaughtered a pig you had named. The reason you slept tangled up with 5 other warm bodies under 12 layers of wool. They survived because they were ready for it every year for centuries until eventually somebody invented a thing called central heating, and we forgot. The next time you complain about a cold morning, remember the woman in Florence in 1352, trapped in her house under a month of unbroken snow, hacking frozen wine out of a cask with an axe. She got through it. She had to.